Well, we're going to do a couple things today. We're going to have a little fun at John McCain's expense, of course. But we're also going to put you to work, because this is your election and this is your time as a generation. There is an enormous difference between John McCain and Barack Obama. And the core of that difference is in policy, and we're going to talk about that. But it's also, John McCain is a candidate of the past, and Barack Obama is the candidate for the future. This election is very much like the election of 1960, where Jack Kennedy was the candidate of the future and Dick Nixon was the candidate of the past. We only won that one by 100,000 votes. And this election is going to be very close. And it's not going to be won by Barack Obama or Joe Biden or by me or by Buffy or anybody else. It's going to be won by you. This is your time, and we're going to tell you exactly what you have to do to win this election. You know, I don't, you can admit this if you want to or not, but did anybody see any of the Republican National Convention? Did anybody remember one positive thing that they had to say? I can't think of one thing that they said they were going to do about the economy. What did they say they were going to do about the economy? What did they say they were going to do about health care? Did you hear anything about Iraq? No. I didn't hear anything either, except for a few mean things around, like making fun of community organizers. Well, we're going to talk about that, what that means in a minute. But they are the party of the past. They have not one idea. Not one. Not one idea. Now they're even running as the party of change. John McCain's been in the Senate for 26 years. He is the problem, not the solution. John McCain is running against corruption. Before you were born, he was involved in those scandals. John McCain is running in favor of balancing the budget, not spending taxpayers' money. How do you think the deficit got to be a record deficit? John McCain voted 95% of the time with George W. Bush. And did anybody hear Sarah Palin's speech? I thought the first part of it was pretty good. She talked about herself and introduced herself to America. Who wouldn't like a hockey mom or all that kind of stuff, right? The second part was the whole sarcastic stuff. It reminded, you know who it reminded me of? Is Dick Cheney. It did. It was like Dick Cheney. You've got George Bush, John McCain, Dick Cheney, and Sarah Palin. What's the difference between them? They're all essentially the same. We don't need 4 more years of what we've just gone through in this country. We don't need 4 more years of wages going down. We don't need 4 more years of sending our kids to Iraq and not telling us why they're going to Iraq. We don't need 4 more years of George W. Bush, and that's what you'll get with John McCain and Sarah Palin. We need Barack Obama and Joe Biden for real change in America, and that's what we're going to get. That is what we're going to get. So let's talk about the policy differences. Since they didn't mention the policy, we'd be happy to do so. Now, look, I'm not going to make this up the way they do. Let's look at John McCain's prescription for the economy. Tax cuts, $1.2 billion for ExxonMobil. Extending the Bush tax cuts. Anybody here make over $250,000 a year, or any of the parents? Okay, so if you do, or your parents do, your taxes are going to go up to what they were when Bill Clinton was president. I thought the economy was pretty good when Bill Clinton was president. Everybody else is going to pay less taxes. 100 million families are going to get a tax cut from Barack Obama. And those people, that 100 million people, is totally left out by John McCain, just as they were by George Bush. That's the difference in the economy plan. The difference between Barack Obama and John McCain and George Bush on Iraq is 98 years in Iraq. John McCain said it'd be fine with him for us to stay in Iraq for 100 years. Now, you know, the Republicans get all upset when I mention that. He didn't really say that. Oh, well, yeah, he did. Here's the clip. Well, he didn't mean that. He meant that they wouldn't be in combat. Well, if you think that our troops can be in Iraq for 98 years and nobody's going to shoot at them or try to bomb them, I don't think you understand what's going on in Iraq. You may have gone over there, but you probably had an escort of 100 people in Kevlar vests when they took you around. They don't get it at all. Barack Obama was right at the convention when he said, it's not that they don't care, it's just that they don't get it. I think he was being charitable myself. But we're spending $10 billion a month in Iraq. That's what the American people have a problem with, is we're spending $10 billion a month in Iraq, and we need that $10 billion here in Missouri so you don't have to pay student loans, so we can have health insurance for all Americans, so we can rebuild our school system, rebuild our road system, and have American jobs stay in America. That's why you want to elect Barack Obama President of the United States.